Уважаемые участники делового саммита АТЭС, Дмитрий Анатольевич, во-первых, я хотел поблагодарить наших филиппинских коллег за такую замечательную организацию этого саммита. Россия вступила в АТЭС в 1998 году и с тех пор принимала в организации очень активное участие, в том числе в рамках саммита во Владивостоке в 2012
including the APEC Summit in Vladivostok in 2012, where we created a lot of infrastructure projects. Since then, Russia, with other countries of APEC, has been investing in infrastructure and other projects. We believe that this cooperation will allow to promote growth and well-being of all our countries. The Prime Minister of Russia, Mr. Medvedev, speaks in front of the business organizations on a regular basis, and we are very thankful to him for agreeing to speak today. Dmitry Anatolovich, Mr. Medvedev, please take the floor.
Уважаемые дамы и господа, я также
Ladies and gentlemen,
искренне поблагодарить
I would also like to thank the hosting country.
принимающую сторону Филиппины за
Thank you,
прекрасную
Philippines,
организацию мероприятия.
for a seamless
И
organization
очень рад
of this
выступить на
event.
этой представительной, авторитетной
And I'm glad to
площадке
be
на
speaking here at
деловом
such a
саммите
representative
АТЭС,
and
который,
prestigious
кстати,
forum,
появился не
APEC
сразу,
CEO Summit.
но по
It
праву
wasn't
считается
born at the beginning
барометром экономических и политических
of
тенденций
APEC,
не
but it
только
is truly a
в
barometer of
Азиатско-Тихоокеанском
economic
регионе,
and
но и во
political
всем
trends,
мире.
not only in Asia-Pacific,
Девиз
but around the
делового
world.
саммита АТЭС
The motto of
2015
APEC CEO Summit 2015 is creating the future better, stronger, together.
он вообще хороший, но сегодня
It's a
он
great
звучит
motto,
особенно актуально.
but today it is topical as ever.
Скажу несколько слов о печальных
I would like to
событиях.
say a few words about the sad events. We need to say these words. The terrorist attacks that Russia
Россия и
and
Франция
France
затронули весь мир.
has survived through had an impact over the whole world.
Является глобальным
Terrorism
вызовом
spreading is a truly global challenge.
цивилизованному миру.
That's a challenge to the whole civilized
И
world.
этот вызов требует
And this
совместного
challenge
ответа,
requires a joint answer,
координированных и
coordinated,
сплоченных действий.
truly concerted actions.
Взрыв в российском самолете
Explosion in the Russian aircraft over the Sinai Peninsula, which took lives of 224 lives, mass killings of people in Paris. That is not a crime against just one country, that is a crime against the whole world,
Противостоять террористам мы должны все
and
вместе.
we should fight terrorism all together.
Поэтому такие мероприятия,
Such events
как саммит АТЭС,
as
укрепляют
APEC Summit
наше взаимодействие
build
во всех
our
областях.
cooperation in all spheres.
Такой подход в полной мере созвучен
Such an
нашей
approach
политике
is
в
truly in tune
Азиатско-Тихоокеанском
with our
регионе. Я
Asia-Pacific
напомню,
policy.
что наша страна
I would like to
находится
remind you that our
почти
country
на 2/3
is
своей
situated
территории
over
в Азии и
two-thirds
неразрывно
of its
связана с
territory in
регионом.
Asia, and it is
И
inseparably
развитие
linked to the
сотрудничества со
region.
всеми странами, которые
Developing
расположены
cooperation
здесь,
with
так
all
же,
the
как и
countries of
наше
the region,
участие в
as
самых
well as our
острых и
participation
важных
in the most
региональных
acute
проблемах,
regional problems,
наша
that
принципиальная
is our
стратегическая
fundamental
линия.
strategic
И, конечно, она
course.
никак не зависит от
It does
политических
not
периодов.
depend on political climate.
Наша встреча
Our
проходит
meeting
в непростой
is
для
taking
мировой
place
экономики
in a
период.
complex situation for the global economy.
Своему опыту скажу, я не
In
припомню,
my
чтобы
experience, I'd like to say that
проходили в какой-то совсем простой
our
период.
meetings always
Тем не
take
менее,
place in some
остается
complex situations.
достаточно неустойчивой, волатильной.
It is
Нам
this
всем, и
situation is still
участникам
volatile,
Азиатско-Тихоокеанского саммита и другим
APEC
странам мира
Summit
приходится
participants
искать
and the rest
ответы
of
на
the world
сложнейшие
have to
вопросы.
find answers to
Какие
the
это
most
вопросы? Как
difficult
обеспечить
challenges.
экономический
Which are
рост
these
в
challenges?
условиях
How to provide
глобальной
economic growth
нестабильности?
in global
Как
instability?
использовать в
How to
интересах
harness
собственного развития
for
современные
development
технологические,
modern
социальные
technological,
и
social, and
экономические
economic
тренды?
trends?
Как повысить
How to improve
конкурентоспособность
competitiveness?
и найти
How to
свое
find
место
your own
в
place
новой
in the new
реальности?
normal?
Понятно, что универсальных
It is
рецептов
clear
здесь
that
нет и
there is
не
no
может быть.
universal recipe.
Тем не менее, есть целый ряд
Nevertheless,
базовых
there
факторов,
is a
без
number
которых
of
невозможно
baseline
выстроить
factors
эффективную модель
without which it would
современного
be impossible
экономического
to be
развития.
an efficient model of
Хотел бы
economic
я
growth.
сегодня
And I
назвать.
would like to expand on
Первое, о
that.
чем хочу сказать,
The
это,
first thing,
конечно,
that
региональная
is the regional
интеграция.
integration.
Тема для Азиатско-Тихоокеанского
This
региона
is a
сегодня
topic which is a
действительно
truly
номер
number one
один,
topic
важнейшая
for
тема.
Asia-Pacific region,
Россия
truly crucial.
последовательно выступает за углубление
Russia
региональной интеграции.
has been favoring regional integration, and we believe that all preferential trade agreements within the framework of APEC, they're very important, but nevertheless, they should not substitute the multilateral trade system, and they should not disrupt the already stable economic ties. As you know, over a year, the Eurasian Economic Union is active, and with 2 more countries becoming full members, we're aiming at creating a mutually beneficial cooperation with all partners around the world. That is our input to such integration. We have an agreement with our Chinese partners about bringing the integration processes together. We're trying to create an economic belt of the Silk Road and bring it together with the Eurasian Economic Union. In May, we have signed a preferential trade agreement with Vietnam, and we're working on the similar agreements with other countries. Overall, the Eurasian Committee has received more than 40 applications to create free trade zones and other agreements. Within this vein, I should say that the trade rules of the game should remain universal and should be based on universal forums. First and foremost, in the framework of WTO, otherwise why would it exist? It is clear that all stakeholders should take part in this work. Only through that we can ensure true legitimacy of the norms, so they would count for all participants. We believe it is crucial that the Asia-Pacific Forum remain consistent in its position relating to improving the international multilateral trade system through achieving Gore goals. The second thing, what I want to mention, and I'm sure that my colleagues have already talked about it, that is innovation and human potential development. The global technological revolution, including the so-called grand challenges, are impacting almost all of the countries. In order to stay afloat, to win in the competitive challenges of today's world, we need to respond to them. APEC economies complement each other in research and development, infrastructure, in human and education potential, in commercialization of innovation projects. Using these advantages, bringing it to life, would allow for a new quality of economic development. For business, also for small and medium enterprises, that is a new horizon of opportunities. Russia is ready to work in this sphere. Next year, we will host a very prestigious innovation forum, International Organization of Conference of Association of Science Parks and Innovation Zones, and we invite our APEC partners to participate in this forum. It is impossible to develop human capital or to develop regional integration without investments. Overall, we'd like to note the growing interest in Russia to draft Asia-Pacific policy. We see a stable increase in our trade with the regional countries. Overall, more than a quarter of Russian foreign trade with APEC countries is with APEC countries. However, direct investments to the Russian economy from APEC countries and vice versa are not growing as robust as we wanted to. Right now, it stands around $10 billion. Right now, we're proactively launching joint investment funds with China, Japan, and South Korea. We're working on the same type of tools with other APEC countries. The opportunities for cooperation are almost inexhaustible in our development of Siberia and Far East. Here we have launched a special mechanism of advanced development territories with special tax and administrative privileges. We already have 9 such zones. We try to implement best practices in working with investors, best practices used in APEC countries. We have drafted this law for such zones, and we have used the experience of APEC countries. We took a look at the legal framework of these countries. Some other privileges would be acquired by the free port of Vladivostok, and we plan to expand this law for other key ports of Russian Far East. Russia plans to participate in solving the most crucial regional problems. We're talking about energy security of APEC countries. We need to keep in mind that despite significant sources of oil and gas, the region still has an energy deficiency. Russia has great resources, and it is geographically close. That is why we can provide stable, long-term deliveries, and the prices are competitive. It is clear that all this situation should be harnessed to the most benefit. Another avenue, which is very important for the countries of the region, and we have a lot of prospects of cooperation, that is food security. It is a big region, the population is growing. We need to understand that the food security issues would be more and more topical. Right now, Russia produces a lot of grain. We export grain a lot. By the year 2020, we expect our export opportunities to stand at 35-40 tons. That will be also an input to solving the food security issues. We're not only talking about export, but also about full cooperation with our partners and other participants of APEC market. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, the issues outlined by me and by the previous speakers, these are not exhaustive topics of the agenda for our countries. They are opportunities to increase our cooperation. These opportunities are truly outstanding. We need efforts from business on the one side and from the states on the other side to use these opportunities to the fullest in the interests of the whole Asia-Pacific region. That means that it's our vested interest. Thank you. While the colleagues are still preparing their questions, I wanted to ask the question as a moderator. You were talking a lot about the integration with the Asia-Pacific region. How do you evaluate the business climate in Russia? How do you evaluate the economic situation in regard to investment attractivity for foreign investors? I can talk about that for a very long time, but I'll try to keep it in a nutshell. Overall, we have some issues and we have some progress. Right now, difficult time. This is paramount for us right now, that the oil prices have plummeted, ruble has depreciated. 1.5 years, our country is coming up against sanction pressure. This does not help the economic situation. Despite that, economic situation and the financial system are quite stable. We're coping with the negative fluctuation of prices, which managed to retain investor interest, and most of the foreign companies active in the country are trying to keep up this spirit. Apart from the negative factors, it is clear that there are also positive things for foreign investors. Maybe this does not work for our country, but it is good for foreign investors. I mean that the ruble has declined, so it is possible to acquire Russian assets at a cheaper price than it was possible before. Many use this factor. On the other hand, companies have a better local content right now in Russia, and companies working for export also have additional benefits. As for the business climate in Russia, we have competitiveness, so we'll continue to improve business climate in Russia. That is the #1 priority for Russian government. We have a special initiative, National Entrepreneurial Initiative. We have targeted this initiative for a very long time. It is aimed at liberalization of legal framework, at building dialogue with business community, also aimed at improving business climate overall. For example, we have stopped levying some non-tax duties till 2019. That is to improve the business climate. We have progress in PPP, public-private partnership. We're trying to keep our foreign markets active as well. We have created some institutions for that, for example, Russian Investment Center. There are some indicators which show that Russian investors are active. It seems that we're actually improving in our factors. For example,
Doing business indicators show that we are moving forward, and we are already among the first 50 ranks in doing business. Of course, this is not the position that actually satisfies us. I mean, those who are doing Russian business, who are regulating Russian business, but nevertheless, the trend is pretty obvious. We are ahead of a number of states who've been our competitors in the past, and I hope that through joint efforts we'll be able to improve this in figures in the future. So we hope that all these factors will be taken into account by our Asia-Pacific partners when making their investment decisions. Thank you very much, Mr. Medvedev. Now the question from the audience. You have the floor, sir.
Prime Minister, good afternoon. Dobry dzień. My name is J.C. Pareñas, and I'm Senior Advisor at Nomura. As you have mentioned, Siberia and the Russian Far East are rich in natural resources, and they have tremendous potential to contribute to the growth of the region, but also serve as a bridge between Russia and the Asia-Pacific. So my question, Prime Minister, is what in your view is the role of foreign companies? And how do you plan to attract them to participate in these two national projects?
Thank you very much for this question, because this issue is of extreme importance for our country. Russia is the biggest state in the world, and of course we are interested in making Russian Siberia and Far East our national priority of the 21st century, because these are vast territories where a huge amount of fields is located, as well as natural resources, and without foreign investment, we can't do in these areas. And we hope that our colleagues will actively invest in these territories. What is being done for this goal? I've already said a few things about this. Let me repeat. We're talking about establishing specialized legal regimes. When we've been discussing this issue in the government, a year ago, we have studied the legislation of Asia-Pacific states, and we have set up a model which is called Advanced Development Territory. This model was established for the Far East. What is this about? It is about the preferential tax regime and opportunities for investment into infrastructure projects, facilitated visa regime, the so-called single window system for company registration and for administrative issues. This is a tool which, as we hope, will benefit us. 9 territories have already been registered. 9 advanced development territories have already been registered. There are about 70 residents who are ready to work there, and I hope that this number will grow. As for now, the announced amount of investment is, at this moment,
is about $5 billion US, but this is the very beginning of our work. And of course, we're flexible people, and if there is a need to adjust something, to adjust this institution, we will make amendments into our legislation. I would also like to remind you of a very good independent way to stimulate investment into Siberia and Far East. This is the free port construction, Franco port construction. This is a model that is actively employed in the region. We introduced it for the first time. First, we're talking about the free port of Vladivostok, but if it starts functioning properly, we will try to extend it. So this Franco port has almost all the regimes that I've mentioned, the preferential tax regime and other regimes, and I hope that conditions will be comparable to the same ports that are located in the Asia-Pacific region and will be able to compete with our partners in Asia-Pacific. But let me repeat, this is a creative work, and of course we will respond to proposals made by our partners, foreign investors. If a need occurs to adjust something in our legislation, of course we will consider these ideas very carefully and make amendments. This work has been started, and I hope it will bring good results. Thank you very much. More questions?
Prime Minister, I'm from APEC Brunei. My name is Hafimi. You mentioned just now that you stress on innovation and technology cooperation. In what way is Russia going to collaborate on such a combination? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, everybody's speaking about technologies today, and as far as I understand, my colleagues have already been speaking from this rostrum about the technological cooperation. This is a very fragile area, very delicate area. Everyone wants to cooperate on the one hand, but on the other hand, there is the commercial secret protection, the industrial secret protection. So it is obvious that the issue of innovation is of principled importance for the development of any states today. The world is being influenced by a whole number of factors, and the most important factor is the technological revolution. In this sense, we are not still. We have set up this specialized program, the National Technological Initiative. It is a long-term program for a medium term. It includes a number of areas, the so-called road maps. We have determined 9 target markets, and we are going to finance events. Within the public-private partnership, there are 4 roadmaps, which I, as a head of the government, have signed recently. They are aimed at different areas. I will mention some of them. The so-called AutoNet, those transport vehicles that are managed without a driver, without a pilot. Also, it includes the NeuroNet, those technological solutions that are related to the activization of brain activities, and a number of other road maps which we are going to sign in the near future. As you know, Russia provides quite good education, and there are strong national research centers, research and development centers. I would like to add that the Asia-Pacific region is of great interest for us. We are talking, in fact, about the common research space of the APEC, and we hope that APEC states will also show interest into our research infrastructure. Moreover, there are now some topics, some subjects which we used to call mega science, and which require the streamlining of scientific policies of many countries. Besides, it is important to communicate at discussion platforms. We have the Open Innovations Forum that is being held annually. The recent forum took place in Moscow, and the topic of this forum this year was the person at the junction of the trends of technological revolution. This is exactly what we're discussing today. This is indeed an open platform. And availing myself of this opportunity, I would like to invite all our partners, all our APEC partners to take part in these events next year, because each year there is a separate participating country who has some privileges. We've held such forum with our Chinese partners in 2014, with France and Finland in 2013, and of course we're ready to continue holding this forum. So I believe that technological cooperation is of huge importance for the future. And I hope that we'll be able to build very positive relations with APEC companies.
Thank you very much on behalf of business circles and all media here. We plan to implement a lot of projects with APEC, and I wish to all of you great business success and have fun.